Yeah, very heartily welcome to this new presentation of Gnosis Deutschland, Gnosis Germany in the English language. As you know, we transmit each week uh, a conference or presentation on a topic of Gnostic interests. And today we have the very famous and maybe somehow um, infamous um, theme of the Age of Aquarius. Many of you may have already heard about this topic and maybe heard about this in New Age books because it is the New Age, talking is the Age of Aquarius, or maybe even pop culture, the famous musical Hair. And it's where we come back to that because it's also an expression of this area. So what we start today, before we look on the significance for our own life and our own spiritual development, we look what is behind this Age of Aquarius on an astronomical level. So we have to distinct between astronomy, so the official science, which has also really its purpose. So it's now saying that this is circumstance that is really based on an astronomical science and the astrological meaning of it. So first we have to have a look on the background, the astronomical background, or the reason why this happens. So you have this very nice representation here, where you can have the first imagine what happens, what is the background of that we are talking about a certain point, or vernal point, or equinoctial point, or spring point, that is showing to this date, the beginning of the new astronomical year, or to say the new year of Mother Earth, on or around the 21st of each March. So why does this phenomenon happen? As some of you may know, the axis of the Earth is not straight all the time, but actually it's all the time gyrating upon a point. The background is that we have the force of gravitation coming from the moon, the sun, but also the other planets and various forces that that have the effect that the force of this gravitation that is working on the equator, where the due to the rotation of the Earth, the thickness of the atmosphere and also of the water is bigger than at the poles. So we have this effect that there is a slight instability in the axis of the world, axis of the planet Earth. And so the axis not only tilting, but it's really gyrates around a certain point. And this circle, which is rating, is called the precision. And this precision is happening through a time between 25,700 and 25,800 years. And this period is called the Platonic year. And this Platonic year is parted in 12 months, the Platonic months, corresponding to each zodiac. And these are areas or ages of around 2,150 years. So this expression, Platonic year and Platonic months, is to honor the great Greek philosopher Platon, who also talked about that. So he was not the astronomer who in the time, we know this knowledge is very old, but when we look on the history, where the first time somebody talking or writing about that, we come to Greek mathematicians who saw that there were variations from the calendars they received from antiquity, from the Babylonians, and what they observed in their own time. So they say there was really some change going on with this axis that had the effect that on each spring point, so the point of the axis of the Earth is showing when there is spring starting, is changing from each year. And so over the time, this the axis is, as you see in this presentation, gyrating and showing each time moving through the zodiacs. So what we see in the what's called the ecliptic, what we can observe on certain stellar constellations. So the interesting point, one of these very interesting points, is that these periods of time cannot be measured or calculated exactly. The reason is that there is this influence on the gravitation by the sun, the moon, and the planets, and these are not constant, and also other very subtle influences that lead in effect to a change of more than less than 100 years. And at the same time, it is the interesting fact that the zodiacs, as you see in these presentations, or can guess on these presentations, they cover different sizes of the sky. So you can argue to a certain extent when a certain age has started. And there are these speculations, or maybe calculating, saying that this starts in already nearly 600 years ago in 1447, up to far in the future in 3597. So there varies in different theories the point and what the age of Aquarius, in which the age of Aquarius starts. So sometimes you hear that, oh, the age of Aquarius starts so many centuries ago, and sometimes no, it's very far away. We are still in the age of Pisces. So this is arguing. So the founder of modern Gnosticism, or the modern Gnosis, Samuel Bauer, also worked on this important subject, because as we dwell deeper, these ages are not solely like change on the clock, but they have important influences, or very strong influences, on humanity, on the structure of the earth, but also on the individual being. So Samuel War, he states or declares that the age of Aquarius started on the 4th of February 1962 between 3 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So to say, interestingly, now nearly 63 years ago, when we are transmitting it, it's the 19th of January. So we have the 1st of January of the Julian calendar behind us, but we are now very close to the real change of the year. So there are not only this, but there are other starting points of the new year that are of great importance, which the night of the 31st to the 31st of December to the 1st of January not is. It's simply in the Julian system, but it has no esoteric importance or no importance on our life. Okay, we may reflect on this day when everyone thinks there are changes on our life, and maybe have good ideas for the next year.
So
But
if you want to
it's
get
not more. So, but the important date, the first important date for the new year, is the 4th of February. So how it comes, put it very shortly, that Samuel Anwar says that in this short period of time, on period of around 2 hours, the new era started. And that is because you observed, and there's also an astrological fact, that in this time, the 7 main planets, seen astrological planets, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, came together, all together in the zodiac of Aquarius. So important to see is we're talking now about these planets and about astrology. So some may say, no, the sun, it is the sun, and the moon is the moon, and the other planets. But astrological scene, these are planets. And why are they planets? Because in Gnosis, we say, oh, they are not simply balls of gas or material or whatever matter, but as they are too, but on another level, they are expressions of very highly developed being. So each of these, as we say, planets has its own ruler, and these are very high developed beings. So think of when we look on ourselves, then say there are different levels of awakening of consciousness. So these are beings that have developed over millions of years, and and they have been in this process for a long time and very conscious. So they have a level that is far reached from our level. That's why they are able to have this power and took over the task to look for these planets, but also for mankind, because we as mankind on the planet Earth are part of this, to say, family, and principally to say this is our, like our around the solar system, the orbs system, and so to say is our home, or to say the place we live. We live on the planet Earth, but it's to say it's seen on on the level of the universe, a very, very small area. And so here's our home. And to say these beings are like our guardians. And so it's not just, so to say, it's an by chance or an event. It may happen sometimes that these planets are in the certain zodiac, but it's also an event on that has highly esoteric and spiritual meaning. Because you say it is like a gathering, like a conference of important people who have to make a resolution of how human history is going on. And that's why Samal Gore said that in this moment, the new age, the age of Aquarius, started. So, what does this mean? That a new age started, a new era for our life and the spiritual path. If we are on a spiritual path, what is the difference? What is are the new influences that are different from what comes before? We have to say there's not so far away for some of us, even during the lifetime. And we all more or less, even if we are young, we know people, we know more or less a lot of our surrounding, our civilization goes back far beyond this point. So this is very close to us. So we have to say, if this is of significance, what has changed? And how could this change? And so we have to have a short look on Gnostic astrology, which we started. We talked about these spirits, these planetary spirits. And in Gnostic astrology, which is very much different to the common astrology, we are saying that it's not in a certain aspect, it is mathematical, like a clock going on. But as we saw, even that there is a lot of dynamic, and like a living being, in the universe and in the solar system. So we say this is not like mechanism, but there's also intelligent influence, and influence we can connect. And why can we connect? And why are we connected? We are connected with this either unconscious or conscious. And why it is like that? It is not, well, only to a short part, like the influence of the gravitation. We teach in Gnosis also the ancient hermetical principle of microcosm, macrocosm. So to say, the human being or the human is a microcosm related to the macrocosm of the universe or of higher levels of being. So, and that is the old principle, which is the one of the axis, the main points of the Hermetism, as it was developed by the great sage, wise man Hermes Trismegistus. That which is above is like to that below, and that which is below is like to that which is above. So this translation from the Tabula Smaragdina, so to say, the main source for the teaching of Hermes Trismegistus. And this sentence put more condensed, more short, is as above, so below, and as below, so above. Saying that what happens in the macrocosm, so to say in our solar system, in the cosmos, the macrocosm, has corresponding effects in ourself, the microcosm. So it's not just like there is some physical influence, but it's on a higher level. We're really corresponding to the system. So that is very important to understand in Gnostic astrology too, that we are not talking about like some gravitational effects, but really of correspondence. So, and when we looked on this, we have to say that the zodiacal signs have to be seen not just as to say some cultural tradition, which like some play we may some game we may play of meetings, but it's actually has significance for the understanding of our psyche. And to say that this, when we looked on these zodiacs, we see certain aspects, positive and negative, of our psychology. So when we look on these zodiacs, we know these Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, as we are now in the near the middle of January, Capricorn, and then Aquarius, and then Pisces. And when we look on this zodiacs, which we may do in other conferences, we see that each of this has a certain shows certain aspects of the psychology, not only of the person that is born in this constellation or in this zodiac, but of each of our psychology. Each of us has a part of this each zodiac and has to work on that. So it is very interesting, even if you're not Aquarius yourself, to understand what this means, especially as we are now in the age of Aquarius. So also it is interesting when we talk what was the area before. The area before was not, as we may guess, Capricorn, but actually was Pisces. So the double sign of the fish, because in the Platonic year, these zodiacs move in the other direction. So we'll have the next area will be the area of Capricorn. So that is also important to understand, that you're not confused why we're now talking about the past of Pisces. We look on this, what this age of Pisces was and what influence it still has on us. So if we look on the specific qualities of Aquarius, we have determination, intuition, love for science and travel, which is also love for science, great gift for natural science. So people that are influenced from this zodiac have this inclination to look deeper into things and do research. And that is very interesting or important for when we are on the Gnostic path, because we say in Gnosis that it's not you have to listen to uh, or read what the masters write or believe what I'm saying or whatever who's teaching Gnosis, but the important part is that you have to prove it for yourself. So everything which I'm talking about is important that you uh, try to research it for yourself. If it's really something you can correspond or understand yourself or experience in your life through different techniques, and so it's showing that actually this time is a good time for Gnosis, because Gnosis says we are doing research. We are not simply uh, believe some dogmas, but each of us has to do his own research, his own scientific research with different techniques we learn. So that is something that has its effects also in our area, but also for the people that are born under this sign. So what more is about this sign? We say that the 12 zodiacs are ruled by the four elements, so the four basic elements: water, air, earth, and fire. And in this, the Aquarius is, which may be a bit surprising, not ruled by water but by air. Very much nicely shown on this picture of Joffre, the talented and painter and Rosicrucian, who made very interesting paint of each zodiac. And here you see that the water that is coming out of this jug there is not fluid but more gas-like. So we say that is really something that is related to air and vaporing and going up. And that is also an expression of the people that are on the zodiac, but also of our time. And also, it's interesting that this zodiac is ruled by two planets. One is Uranus, and the other is Saturn. You look on this, and what does it mean? And interesting, this sign is ruled by two, and not only by one planet, by two planets, Uranus and Saturn. And to say, when we study these zodiacs, we say that the keyword word is charity. So to say compassion with other people, so not being egoistic. And also it is a sign for people that are independent and revolutionary. And this time needs evolution. For its evolution, an intelligent evolution of our own psyche and not an outer revolution. It's also very interesting if we look on this, because we know in these times have been very political, economical upheavals, that we say the very interesting point is, or the important point is, that we change ourselves. So this teaches us a lot that when we start this work, we're changing ourselves, but changing ourselves and being a better person, not a good, but a better person on a certain level, is also something that can help all humanity. Because if all humanity would work like that, and they would even start to light their inner darkness for 10 or 15%, we would have no war, no struggle for life. We would share what we have, and so it is important that we work on that. And the sign of zodiac is very helpful. But we have also to see that each zodiac not only has positive, or to say, aspects that help ourselves to develop us, but also antagonistic aspects. And that is for the zodiac, 2 points. It may tend, just being the opposite, being very realistic and materialistic. And so we have to see that we see an person that are born under this sign, but we can also see it in this area, that we have these principles, these analytic principles expressing themselves. The we will talk soon about the influence of the planet Uranus, which is very important. So, but only a short look on what does mean the influence of planet Saturn. Very nicely expressed, actually, in this picture of Jafra with the skull that is showing itself a new light. So to say, there is really the to show that how close death and life, the end and the beginning are. And so to say that Saturn, that is corresponding to old age and death, is not to be seen as something negative or bad, or saying it's only just crepitude and like something very barren. But it's it's the course of life, and this is a normal cycles. As we said, we have the cycle of life for each of us, no? From being born, growing, and in adolescence, and some sooner or later getting all the time going closer and closer to death, but also have this cycle of gratitude, and then to be prepared to be born again. So that is also expressed in very interesting in this zodiac. So it's also an aspect of the Aquarius, and we see that is very much related to the important factor of the Gnostic work of the psychological death. So now have a closer look on what are the characteristics of the age of Aquarius. And to understand that, the age, so we're not talking about the individual, but also of the age we are now in. And to understand that, we have to see what is the difference of the age before. As I said, this was the age of Piscis. So to say that is around 2,500 years. So you can say that area started just some 100 years before the birth of Christ. So to say that Jesus the Christ, or Christ the Jesus, so Jesus Christ, he grew and came in this age of Piscis. And we have to say, of course, as every zodiac carries aspects that are positive, they have others that are negative or obstructing. And so in Piscis, especially in the end, there express a lot of aspects of society, of the human being, that are, or the culture of this time, that are counterproductive. So we say it was time, a lot of obscurity, fanatism, also religious fanatism, introvert, so to say, not parting or sharing goals with other people, and also very authoritarian and tending to be static. So to say that in this time, in this age, there was always a try to statuate an order, a very strict order. Actually, this never worked for a long time, but it was the spirit of the age of Piscis. So, and when we now start the new age of Aquarius, it is important to say that this is not like something that just one time ended at one point and a new started, but it's also an influence that's still there of the age of Pisces. So, of course, in many aspects of our society, because the basics of society have been founded in the age of Pisces. So, a lot of institutions we have in religion, in politics, in economics are still ruled by the principles of Pisces. So, and we see many conflicts or strong conflicts we have in this time, especially in the last years, are also the clash of these two cultures, because one is still there, and you have to say where there is revolution, there's also reaction. There's also a law. There are this corresponding. There are two, always a negative and a positive corresponding. Important to say not good or bad, but is to say something that is helping us or not development is something which is obstructing us. And now these negative characters of Pisces are really obstructing us and also obstructing the awakening of the consciousness in the individuals, but also in society. So we see that we have now the age of Aquarius that is agile, so say very dynamic, by a lot of movements. So we see this in everyone is traveling and can travel nowadays far away with all the means of traffic. We have this communication, it's more and more communication, as we see here from the internet. So we now think 50 years ago, I may have sent a cassette with this presentation, so to say, the audio, or write a book, or send just one time in television. And now we have it here on the internet, so you can reach it at any time on any point of the earth, or wherever you are, where there's a connection to the internet, you can share this and listen to it. So that is this communication. It has become, it is, we say, Informationsgesellschaft, time of society of information in English. That is something that is really accelerated a lot in this time. And also this is a lucidity, so to the light, as we saw in this picture of Jofra. There's a bit gloomy and dark, but there's light coming. So there's something also of illumination in this time. And also it's revolutionary. So people want to change things. And also there is cooperative. So the important law is not only charity, but also cooperating. So that we have to stop to work for ourselves or maybe our family or a certain group that is together by some ideology or some religion, but really have to cooperate to solve our problems, our situations. And it is also very intuitive. So like the element air, we say the element air, it's flowing, and the positive part of it is that it's very agile, very quick, and this is also a very interesting aspect we have in the experience we have of time. Maybe, I don't know how it's for you personally, but you can see if you talk to people, and everywhere you go, not only in the Western countries and not only to old people or young people, everyone has this feeling that time is more and more accelerating. So that we have the feeling, especially in these days, at the beginning of a new year, 2025, that, oh, now it's already 5 years gone, like this happened or that happened. And it is something that is very significant, that time seems to go faster. And on one thing, it may be a bit worrying, but on the other hand, they say there's a lot of things happening. So it's there's a lot of dynamic in it. So really, it's important to see this positively, because say the other extreme, everything would be very stagnant and not passing. When you and you shouldn't see it like, oh, my life is passing away. No, we have biological the same as before. It's our senses that's saying the time is passing quicker, and in a certain way, that's absolutely right. That is a strong expression of the age of Aquarius. So let's have a look on the influence of Uranus. We talked about the Saturn that is corresponding to death, and the planet Uranus expresses revolution, changing, and also in respect of sexuality. So we say that Uranus actually has a part of rays going to this solar system and also touching the planet Earth and us, that is corresponding with our sexual glands. So that's why we have a strong impulse, and giving the corresponding of sexuality and revolution, and also the ability to talk about this. And what is we talked about the sexual revolution, and there is truth in it, because these aspects of our time, of the New Age, is actually there. And when we saw on it to understand it, we talk about in an esoteric way, on the Dionysian wave. Some of you may know the Greek god Dionysus. He was the god of celebration, of losing himself, of intellectualism, and enjoying the moment. And so we say that from the planet Uranus comes this Dionysian wave that's expressed and expressed himself in the behavior of people. You say that you may have experienced already, heard or read about that especially in this time of the 1960s, there was this the great wish for sexual freedom, and to not being taboo to talk about sexuality. And this is two aspects too, a positive and a negative. So one thing is important, as Samalan also said, that we now can talk about this and see the importance of sexuality. And with the Dionysian wave, we have this wish to enjoy sexuality, which is not bad in itself, and also against the dominance of money intellectualism, which is very much related to the era of Pisces. So we have this money system this is still going on and getting more and more hard to say that the structures are still there, and they come to a point of absurdity. It's the same with intellectualism. And the Dionysian wave is against those, about the dominance of money and intellectualism, and being able and to enjoy the moment. So it expressed in this New Age. We talk about the New Age movement. We saw about hippies, and I mentioned at the beginning the musical hair. And this is a very strong expression of this, also in the positive and negative. So we have this freedom. We have this also great importance in this musical is that it was also protest against the war in Vietnam. And to say these are points that are very very welcome. They are giving us more freedom and destroying these old structures. However, the other aspect of this movement was the psychedelism, which is very much related to drugs, to excess, to self-destruction, and excess in everything, also in sexuality, which very often led to self-destruction and really losing this positive impulse. So that is the domineering influence we see in our society. And now, when this is 60 years ago, we see still the effects of this, what happens. And many of them are not good. People have not become more happy. It's very honest. Look on the street. Are people more happy with this impulse? It should be imposed to make people happy, to enjoy life in a sensible way. But people are very unhappy because we are behind after this excess. And when we now see that more and more drugs are used, it's normal to use drugs, that is also an aspect of this wave that is extremely destructive. So we say that in this new age, and it's also a term that it's a bit difficult to say. Is this something really helpful for humanity, or was it a good business idea? Because esotericism or esoteric wave that mainly came from America in this time was also big business, create a big illusion and a lot of confusion. So you say that this new age, or the beginning of new age, had destructive effects on humanity, and humanity was not prepared, neither society, not as an individual, to act with this energy coming with the age of Aquarius. So, interesting enough, the Gnostic movement, initiated by Samuel War, came to being at the same time in the 1950s, and had this first great success in the 1960s, 1970s, and it is the same impulse against mammon, so say the dominance of money, intellectualism, for the importance to talk without taboos about sex, and the importance and the sanctity of sex. So that's also related to this impulse. But the Gnostic movement says we want to use positively this wave, this influx of energy, of this revolutionary impulse to enlighten ourselves, to awake our consciousness. So to have finally a look on that, what this does mean, we look on the spirituality in the age of Aquarius. So we see a lot of the problems we have in society, but also in spirituality, is that we are in a period of transition. So a lot of the hindering and impeding aspects of the age of Pisces is still there, and in some aspects it seems to get stronger, because to say it is a reaction. When a revolution starts, there's also the reaction. No? The revolutionaries, they are the reactionaries. It's intertwined, and this process of like a pendulum. So sometimes it seems that we are going back to this point. But this is just the difficulties of this transition. So what may come with this is this danger of self-destruction, of isolation, of, to say, extreme individualism, egoistic individualism, and also to say the loss of the middle way. Because when we talk about the middle way, you see that many spiritual traditions, like Taoism, or also part of Christianism, really teach a middle way, not the extremes, not extreme asceticism, so being very ascetic, or enjoying life and without any without any responsibility, but a middle way. But interesting, or also say sometimes a bit worrying, is that individually and also the humanity seems to have lost this middle way, chaos to extremes. So we have this struggle now that comes really to a lot of violence that coming from this time is this struggle between these two forces. People are not aware of that, but they are acting for that. So what the Gnosis recommends, instead of using psychedelic drugs or music and excess, is meditation. So to say, bring it very much to the point, that we have to not to use external stimulus, but to ourselves, our inner being. And so that is the revolutionary impulse. It is understood by Gnosis. So what we have to do to finalize this now is to use this energy and the new influence coming with this revolutionary impulse coming with the age of Aquarius, is to awaken our consciousness. We say that in the Gnosis that most people, and also we have to say ourselves individually, are only to a small part awakened, and to say using only a small part of our abilities. So what we have to do on the spiritual path is to awaken us, and what we recommend in the School of Master Samael, somewhere along the world, is working with the three factors of the awakening of the consciousness: death, birth, and sacrifice for humanity. So if you are more interested in this being part and more understanding more of this School for Modern Esotericism, you are invited, of course, in future to watch our videos and take part in our public conferences, but you're also invited to take part in what we call the first chamber. I have it here down there in German. So it's to say the erste Kammer, first chamber, second chamber, third chamber, which is really as it is in the School of Esotericism, which is ancient, also is now adapted for the modern times. We have the system that we have to work to different levels ourselves. So in a didactic, understandable way, to relate to your own individual life. And it's not just by chance that we talk about the Age of Aquarius. We say that this teaching, because of this modern Gnosis, modern esotericism, is a special adapt to this time. So there are very, very virtual schools and virtual masters in teaching in human history. But we now say we use this teaching to help ourselves and others in this time, in these difficult times we are now in. So it's, so to say, it's a teaching especially for the Age of Aquarius. So you're welcome to get in contact with us. And as I said, we are now sending here from Gnosis Deutschland. So for people, but obviously people can listen us from everywhere. So you're welcome to get in contact with us. And even if you're not living in Germany, like where we also have a very close look to people in the Netherlands. So in Netherlands and in the Dutch-speaking part of the world. We can also help you if you hear it's another country to get in contact with groups there to get more of this teaching, get more informed, be it online or, which is much preferable, in a personal contact and joining courses. So you're very much welcome. So we will help you to start this if you're interested in it, but always you're welcome just to, for some time to learn more, to see these videos when we also in future we talk and explain parts of Gnostic teaching. So, Brandon, thank you very much for your kind attention. So you're very much welcome to